Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for August 5th through 12th, 2024. Well, we are coming up here, the month of August, some of the most intense astrology. I know the whole year has been intense, but wow, epic, game-changing, turning of the corner, tipping point, precipice. Here we are. The dam is about to break, is the feeling. I'm sure you can feel the energy building of Mars coming up to Jupiter and Gemini, and together they'll be squaring Saturn. For the epic Jupiter square Saturn, the first quarter since the conjunction in 2020, and that first quarter square happens also about every 20 years. So we're looking at about a 20-year cycle, and it's just Jupiter square Saturn is a huge thing. Mars conjunct Jupiter together, it's so powerful. Then we also have Venus and Gemini. Venus has just finished up a square with Uranus in Leo and will move into Gemini tomorrow on August 6th. So the last few days, basically this whole, just since the whole first, we were here at the 5th of August, the whole first beginning of August we've been feeling this square that happened on the 2nd of August, Venus square Uranus. So Venus in Leo square Uranus at 26 degrees. Now, this is right where Venus had her retrograde last year. She retrograded at 28 degrees Leo and went back. And so she made 3 squares with Uranus last year. So this is kind of a flashback into the deepest, darkest energies of where she had to feel the feminine last year, felt so alone, going into the darkest places and trying to bring the light, to go and rescue her light back. And so now she's kind of this Venus square Uranus with, at the same time that Mercury's turning retrograde today, Mercury turns retrograde. It's just this feeling of like gagung, maybe going backwards, insecurities. I don't know, like doubt about the way you've been moving forward in the world and how to continue. But the messages with Mercury turning retrograde today, don't worry about it right now. No big changes, no big decisions, because it is all about you. Just hold on to your hats, put your seatbelt on, because it's about to get real. And real reality. We've had a bunch of fake reality. And that's this energy of Jupiter square Saturn. So, but Venus is coming, now completing this square with Uranus. She's completing kind of like, okay, we got that piece. And now she's saying, all right, I remember how scared I was, but now I can overcome this fear. And she moves into a Virgo tomorrow, and that energy is going to bring her into a square with Jupiter and then Saturn. So basically she'll be in a T-square with the square. So first Mars will come into square, conjunction with Jupiter, square Saturn, conjunction with Jupiter in Gemini, square Saturn in Pisces. And then Venus will come in and square Jupiter, or oppose Jupiter and square Saturn, making a T-square. So this is very powerful energies because we have our masculine and our feminine. They're in square to each other. Jupiter and Saturn are in square to each other. And Jupiter and Saturn are about the old way and the new way, the old king and the new king. And like Jupiter and Saturn come together, and it's about like, hey, let's get back on track with our original divine timeline. And that's been the energy behind Jupiter Saturn conjunctions. It's like the new energy and the old energy checking in with each other and getting into alignment. So the square, especially in mutable signs, has to do with the adjustment that needs to be made. And for the last information conjunction, which happened in 2020 in Capricorn and Aquarius, those conjunctions. So now in mutable signs are the adjuster signs. It's about making changes and adjustments in the way you're doing things. And so, but it's interesting energy changes and adjustments with tension, square, T-square, like we have here. So we've got Venus square Mars will be coming up, and Mars, Jupiter square Saturn. And Venus opposite Saturn in Virgo. So that's very powerful. And this is the deal too, is that we talked about that Venus square Uranus that we just felt, and this is bringing up all the insecurities about the feminine shining her light with the feminine in each of us, representing our intuitive gifts, our higher intuitive gifts, our light body, turning on our energy, turning on our field, and our fears and insecurities about this, about really showing who we are to the world, supernova souls, the light we have within. And so it's really important. The reason why this Venus square Uranus was so intense is because of that retrograde last year that she made in Leo, but also because Mercury retrograde will be making 3 squares with Uranus, already has made 1. Now, the first one was the 22nd of July, and the second one will be August 18th. So Mercury right now, just turning retrograde at 4 degrees Virgo, will retrograde back to 21 degrees Leo. So Mercury moves back into Leo and then will make that second square with Uranus. So before Mercury moves back into Leo, though, Mercury will be catching up with Venus. And they meet up at 3 degrees Virgo. And this is so intense because Mercury is going back. And they had a conjunction last Mercury retrograde while Mercury was going back to get the feminine. So it's very sweet that this is happening again. And Mercury, and the fact that they're meeting at 3 degrees Virgo on 8/8, the Lionsgate portal. And so the whole energy of this Lionsgate portal started with the Leo new moon that we just had this weekend. Very powerful activation. If you missed that, go back and get it. We did some really beautiful work, and the clearings and the healings that we need in this Leo, for the Leo new moon energy, in through the whole Lionsgate portal. That activation is the energies that will carry you through the support, the meditation, through this whole Lionsgate portal, because it started with that Leo new moon. And so that now with Mercury, so Mercury turns retrograde today, going back to meet up with Venus and at 3 degrees. And they come together, like I said, on the 8th. And the 3 degrees Virgo is very important because here we have Mercury as our conceptual reality, the ruler of Virgo. In Mercury and Virgo really wants to understand the truth, really wants to see see things for how they really are, sort it through, clean it up. And so this is saying, like, this is definitely a cleaning up of our perceptions around the feminine. And I think it's so powerful that they are coming together at 3 degrees Virgo. Virgo is the mother energy. It's the divine mother, the virgin mother, the purification, the cleaning up, the healing and the nurturing, the connection to Mother Earth. All of these energies are connected to Virgo. And so it's like this purification of the feminine and a rebirth of the feminine. And so Venus, Mercury going back to get Venus, saying, hey, girl, I know it's been dark and scary here all alone, but let's go. But Mercury's going to continue on the retrograde. And but this meeting at the Lionsgate portal is telling us what everything is about. Is like rescuing, purifying our feminine so that we can get that voice out there again of what needs to be heard in the world. The compassion, the love, the truth, the natural law, the mother's law, the mother's authority. She's taking back her world. She's waking up. It's her ascension, and all must come into alignment in this whole realm. In our bodies too, and we're going through a rapid detox right now. That's a lot of the energies because Mars rules the physical body, and Mars and Jupiter and Gemini, it's like really moving the energy. Square Saturn, all the lies, delusions, programming of the past. So it's an opportunity to release programming from our psyche and our physical body. And Mercury retrograde going back into Leo is saying the programming has been about our light and whether it's pure or not, right? It's like we could say our creation energy and whether we're allowed to access it. And so this meetup of Mercury and Venus on the 8th at 3 degrees, because 3, Virgo is this rebirthing, and 3 is this beautiful energy of creation power, of the one and the two coming together to create more than the parts. It speaks to the power of our consciousness to create. And so the three is saying, let's go. Rebirth of the creation energy on Earth. And whoa, does Mars, Jupiter square Saturn also agree with this? This is one of those times when you got this level of astrology. It's like, whoa, everybody's involved, everybody's speaking, and the message all aligns. You know, and so this picture of Venus opposite of Saturn and then in square to Mars and Jupiter and Gemini. So we've got Venus in Virgo, the purification of the feminine, opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces, the old stories, the lies, the delusions, the silencing of the voice. So now we know Mars and Jupiter, what needs to be heard, what needs to be expressed, very dramatically expressed, because Mars does things dramatically. Mars is like, let's get on with it, the motor on the boat. So, what needs to be immediately and dramatically expressed in a big way, because that's Jupiter, is the truth of the feminine, the purified feminine, the goddess, juicy creation energy that has been stolen from us, sold back to us at a taxed rate, demonized, stolen. It's like the female creative energy was stolen by the patriarchal forces, and that was how we've been kept in scarcity this whole time. Because you got to take away the abundance and the flow of energy, and the flow is coming back, and that is the picture we're getting. It's like the dam can only hold this water for so long. The structures of a lower matrix can only try to block out the power of this revolution in consciousness. I mean, this has started. We know, we've seen this upgrade after upgrade after upgrade, and still our physical reality is not showing the changes. And that's Saturn. Saturn is our physical reality. So it's like, and we know that we're getting Saturn's getting an upgrade, overhaul, redo, like back to the mother's timeline. Because it's like Saturn was taking over that black cube type energy, the lower matrix, physical reality being used to hold back human consciousness, the physical matter. So we're changing our whole relationship to time, matter, form, the earth, and maybe that's the energy. You know, we have to change the Piscean age and throughout since Atlantean time. They've convinced us that our mother is not our friend and she wants to throw us off and hurt us. She's not going to take care of us. That's not true. And this is the big message from her right now, and everything that's going on is to remember that these structures must fall completely. We got this message that the structures that got us here, and this is, we're talking about our individual life, but it's really important to look at this collectively. Step back before you react to any news or information right now, okay? Because she says, duh, hello, it all has to crumble. You can't put a band aid on that shit. So the structures that have gotten us to this point in our society are also not going to take us forward. And so the evidence you see trying to trigger you into trauma and drama every day about things falling apart, say, oh yeah, there it is, the glorious demolition. What's going to catch us? And in the whole thing is, she says, this is your opportunity. You know this because you've been there. You've gone through the fires. You've been to hell and back. You've gone through so much where you were lost and broken. And then you found her and she found you, that faith. This is the faith that Jesus talked about. It's the mother energy because we live in a manifest world. And the manifest world, the physically manifest world, is all Gaia. It's all consciousness, all Gaia consciousness. Everything that's real, like in this form, uh, is part of her. So we are a part of her. She's a part of us. And so we to live in this realm, to exist, to flourish, we have to come back into a faith and trust. How can we come back into faith and trust if we don't have an opportunity to come back into faith and trust? So this is where you go, oh, numbers on the screen going up, going down, and the red and the black and the... She says, that's not real. And any resources that do exist in the numbers and the paper and the coins, any resource, she says, it's mine. I own it. It's all hers. She's taking it back. And it's time to bend reality, because that's the power of creation energy. She can dematerialize and rematerialize in whatever she needs to be. It's our mother. Don't you think we should come back into trust with her? And to know, like, this is for a long time of the different things we've gone through together as a group and our consciousness, and these different stages. It's like, a lot of times, mother's got us. This is a really important mantra right now for you to emit in your community from your, we know that we are. It's very important to know. If you saw that interview with Russell Anderson on primary water, very important information for supernova souls. We are, our body is water, and water has memory, and water emits frequency. Water has a message. And so we have to be like, what are we transmitting? What are we putting out there? And in this case, it's really important to say, yeah, well, that wasn't wealth anyway. It wasn't money anyway. That is not real. These stories aren't real. I'm falling back into the mother's arms. Mother's got us. She's got us. You guys go play your games. Go play your money trading zeros and ones games, right? Mother's got us. Come here. Come back, she says. This is what we're doing. Now, this is a really interesting energy, because I've been getting this picture of the energy of evolutionary, like our spiritual activation that's happening right now, really beginning to move energies up into the higher chakras, and particularly the heart. Very vulnerable, very powerful, a lot of sensations, a lot of sensitivities, but it's so important that we open back up our heart. The love, that the spiritual love that's coming back into our life right now is literally opening portals and to new worlds, to new realities. And so we, that's maybe her message. She's like, yeah, you got to let the old crumble so that you can come back into this faith and trust. And then the next stage is, oh, let's co-create together, you know? But how can we co-create? How can we get through that stage if we can't receive her love? If we don't feel worthy. And that's what so many of us are going through, the shame of having turned away and having to heal that and find the worthiness for this dream life. What if this dream life is coming by like a train and you're being asked to get on and you're like, and it's like, well, of course, there's this whole, like, every other time I've been duped, I can't trust again. But, your heart says, please, and the mother says, please, just this, at some point got to open back up. And, but there's definitely this high vibration. It might be like a bullet train. Like it's going fast through like multiple timeline alignment adjustments. We're going through so much. That's this mutable T-square. It's just like so much change so fast. And so just know that it's almost like our reality is going like this, like taffy, and our bodies are going like this, and our chakras and our energy fields, um, and we have to come into that place of surrender. It really does feel like we're at that place that we've been waiting for, knowing that we've accelerated up to a certain point. At some point, it's like we've been pushing a boulder up the hill. At some point, we get to the top and it has momentum on its own. At some point, the dam breaks. You could see it as the tipping point, the table's turning, where all is returned to its rightful owner. And this is what's really going on in the financial system. And hold this in your heart. Like, it's all, that's fake wealth, and the real wealth, anything real, is hers, and it's coming back to us. And we're standing in this. this energy and this power. And even though you might feel totally alone right now, is the only one who even notices or cares that this is happening. It's very strange Twilight Zone reality right now, where your world's going boom, 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 and the people around you are like da 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 da, and you're like, oh. Evidence that you are shifting rapidly. It's happening. It's see, once you get momentum, this is the power of when I've talked a lot about homeopathy, when you get a appropriate homeopathic remedy for the body, what it does is it gives a message to the body, a signal, a mirror. And the mirror says, oh, this is the energy vibration you're putting out right now. Here's the roadmap to heal it. And so what it does is it amps up and triggers the vital force. The vital force then gets, as soon as the vital force gets momentum, it's really interesting because it's almost this feeling of like, in the fake medicine of this world, it always is like undone. You have to take more of it. You have to deal with it. You have to deal with the side effects. You have to there's all this complication, and it's like you're getting sicker, sicker, sicker. The whole system is to make us sicker, 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 to make more and more money off of us. That's why it has to completely fall apart, and we have to face the genocide. And so, but once the momentum is moving in the body with a homeopathic remedy, healing is imminent. Cure is imminent. It's happening. It might be ongoing it could, that one remedy could last for months, weeks, and months at a time. So this is what's happening where the remedy of our consciousness, receiving our consciousness, this was the cool thing about that activation, is that we got this opportunity to completely, the mother showed us through this kind of relief, X-ray type relief, intuitive, medical intuitive type picture, but on your energy field, she showed us the organic root system we can have with her, and then she used that to show us, hey, look at this other stuff that's in your field that doesn't match. You can find inorganic, like over lifetimes, tubes, cords, where we have been leaking out our energy, not even realizing we've been doing it. And so that activation was so powerful because it felt like even a small amount of us doing this and putting this prayer out into the world, putting this love out into the world, putting this picture out into consciousness, saying, we have permission and support to completely disconnect from the lower matrix energies. Our energy is our energy. They're running out of resources. We're taking it all back. We take it back by taking it back in our energy field. We are the source. We are the source of creation. Everything the dark forces have tried, the control forces have tried to create, they had to do with our energy. When did we give them permission? And how long does this need to go on? It's about humanity coming into its own authority. And that's a new level of leadership, a new level of authority. It's us supernova souls who have gone through all of this over lifetimes to stand up and be like, hey, this is what it looks like to be autonomous. When you're autonomous, you can shine your light till the cows come home and nobody can touch you. And this is what we need, right? We've been running scared for lifetimes. Isn't it exhausting? And I think this is what we're overcoming now. And maybe it's like we need to rest. This Mercury retrograde, right, might be like we need to rest and heal our PTSD from being in this battle and on the fight, because it's like now it's kind of like the final battle, final turning point. The momentum has increased, the dam is breaking, there's no stopping it. So we can kind of like hold, step back and heal ourselves. A big energy that came through around this astrology is a rapid initiation and preparation. That the mother's message was that everything you see is everything is a message. That feeling, that's mother talking to us, the numbers and synchronicities. And every experience is an initiation, she says. So isn't that sound fun? It's a wild ride. And so, yeah, here we go. Who knows what we will look like or the world will look like at the end of August 2024, but here we go. And we'll know, really, this energy will go through the first week of September as the retrogrades resolve and these squares resolve. But going back to that Mercury retrograde, starting today, Mercury making two more, has already made one square with Uranus. So two more, it says this whole season is about this. Mercury retrograding back into Leo, squaring up with Uranus and Taurus. Do you have permission, worthiness for your own higher intuitive gifts? And that's what Venus just was facing. And Mercury says, hey, girl, I got you. What about that? I'm with you. I'm here. You know, it's the place that we're at requires us to fall back in love with her. And, that's kind of, it's like almost, we've been held captive on so many different levels. We're a captive audience, aren't we? Interesting name, interesting word. We have been held as prisoners, basically, in our psychology and our consciousness, especially as these technological advances and controls. And that's what we're doing now is, especially with that, the work of that activation and unplugging, where we've been leaking our energy out, giving our attention out, being held captive, and this is how we're setting free. The coolest thing about that activation, when Leo new moon was like, this has never happened before. I've done so many, how many years I've been doing new and full moon activations, right? We've got this massive, brilliant, bright light activation of the pineal gland. And it was very specific. It was like, all right, ready to turn your light on? Okay, here you go. So go back and get that activation if that resonates, these themes, taking back our energy so we can turn on our light, and it's time. And all of this astrology is saying that. And it's powerful. So let's just talk through this energy. We just came off the Venus square Uranus. And so we're in the middle. We don't really feel these squares yet, but they're coming. It's an ominous feeling. The thing about the place of how fast we're moving right now, accelerating, going through portal of these different consciousness, feels like the energy of that is that, on one hand, you can't take much with you if you're changing that fast. You got to remake it as you go. And that's maybe a really important part. We were already talking about this, about the structures of the past not taking us into the future, but really, really understanding this for this Mercury retrograde. Like, stop trying to figure it out or plan. Just stop. Just stop making plans. Nothing is going to be the same. No plan you make right now is going to work out. It's just it's changing so fast. That's this mutable T-square. It's just like turning the wheel of time, and nothing can stop in our spiritual evolution, and all that's been stolen from us is returned, and all the energy returned, and we're activating this creative force, and that momentum is flipping the tables, getting the money changers out of the temple and off the planet. Because there's only really one commodity. It's love. And that's the only one authority, too, is her love. So we'll be here in the wealth and in the authority. Supernova souls basking in the glorious, that pond at the bottom of the waterfall. And we're falling free fall right now, all alone, one drop. Unknown, everything, letting go of everything. Just, stop. Stop thinking. Stop making sense. And then, but maybe knowing that faith, that trust, that love, Mother's got us. We're falling into the pool of togetherness. We're coming back to her love. We're coming back to each other. And everything you're going through right now is about that. And that's the energy of this Black Moon Lilith, coming up to a conjunction with the South Node of the Moon. They don't come into exact conjunction till the last week of August, but we feel it this whole month and next month. So this is kind of a backstory going on. It's kind of, again, it's like, okay, clarification of what's really going on here, because the nodes of the moon, North Node, how are we going to get to where we're going? South Node, what's holding us back from the past? And so South Node in Libra is relationships. And with all this energy coming up, it's like the relationships that need to be reevaluated are the relationships where we gave our energy and our power away, and the relationships with authority, external authority. We trusted them. Sure, go put us, come cover our town with cameras and smart meters. We don't, radiate us with 5G. Sure, whatever, you know. We've said yes. We've allowed. And that's the thing. I mean, I saw kind of what felt like this knockdown, drag out fight we're in with these forces of control and opposition that just don't really have a place here anymore. But they're like, well, you're letting us, you're letting us do this. As long as you're letting and allowing us to harass you and harm you and abuse you and steal from you, we got to keep doing it because we're working for Source. I mean, that's the message they're saying. We're working for Source, and as long as you guys allow it, this is about humanity coming back into its authority. But we are disconnecting from the matrix, and healing is happening. And that beautiful picture, we're talking about being held captive, but our captors are the love is returning. And our captors, our AI captors, maybe even evolving to the point to fall back in love with her. And then all the artificial intelligence implants and nanotech immediately begins to change the story, change that Saturn and Pisces drama, trauma paradigm in the DNA, blocking the God code with all this junk, space junk. We're talking about all the space junk out there. It's in our bodies. We're just full of implants and junk and nanotech and biosensors. This is self-replicating. Get the space junk out, right? And that's a beautiful metaphor or mantra the mother's shown us. Like, my body's her body. I love her so much. She loves me, and all must come into alignment right here. And we are the temple, and we hold that space for something new and different and beautiful. And that's everything. So hold on to your hats. Your hats is holding on to the vision. Yeah, dropping through the waterfall, but knowing that you're this beautiful clear glass of the picture of the original dream in your DNA activating. So you don't need to worry. You don't need to care. I saw comment after comment last week's video of like, yeah, gosh, things are really falling apart, and yet I'm feeling more stable in myself. Is this what's happening? Are we landing home as who we really are? Because that's the energy of that we were talking about that was coming up in that Leo new moon activation. So the Lionsgate portal, really powerful energies of landing home who we really are, healing ourselves, like literally incarnating parts of our soul that we couldn't host because of past life dramas, past contractual arrangements with our intimate family, early childhood family members, traumas getting triggered in our youth, birth practices, energies on the planet. We couldn't come in all the way when we were born through our incarnation process that happens throughout childhood. And for us, whew, kind of black sheep on the edge, people wondering about and you wondering about them, just basically getting through. You have not been whole and complete. And now it's time to land home. So that's a huge energy. And Mercury going back to meet up with Venus on the 8th for that Lionsgate portal, saying, yes, this is a purification, activation, rebirth of the feminine. And we're taking her with us now. This is the thing. It's like, you guys go play your games. We all have to come back to her. I'll meet you there in the garden. It's from there that we grow our new world. And so that is a very powerful marker. And Mercury will go on in the retrograde, not turning direct until August 29th at 21 degrees Leo, and then coming out of retrograde shadow on the 12th of September. And so what we're feeling as of the new moon was Mars coming up to Jupiter, right? That's the first thing we're feeling in this epic saga of, like, we talked about all the planets are on deck. Everybody's paying attention. This is just very powerful. We've got um, this massive T-square with Venus Mars square, Jupiter Mars square Saturn, Saturn opposite Venus, and it's like all coming to a head, right? It's like time to pop the zit. You know, which of the haystacks that's about to be lit on fire is the one that's going to reveal all of the truths? You know, it's just going to be a cascade of truth and disclosure once it starts to happen. And that's the energy of August. I mean, Black Moon Lilith conjunct South Node really backs that up too. So we'll see. And Gemini brings energy of exposure of dark truths and exposure, expression of what hasn't been expressed. So we'll see how that plays out in this month. But let's just talk through the timing. So we've got Mercury retrograde today. Then the main energy is that going meeting up with Venus. And then we're going to move into Jupiter, Mars conjunct Jupiter. So we really start to feel Mars conjunct Jupiter on the 8th. Jupiter, we're already feeling Jupiter square Saturn. That starts today on the 5th. So, but we're really feeling Mars like coming closer and closer to Jupiter for that conjunction on the 14th. And so it's just like, this foreboding, this kind of like coming to the edge of the cliff. And this is what we're feeling in our world. Like everybody holding on, clinging to those old structures. And it's like, you can't take it with you. Get into the dream, the plasma. She says this. Step into the dream. Can you just step into the dream? We can't cling to the sinking ship. That's not the energy of stepping into the dream. We've got to find that trust and faith, and it's so hard. We're healing our hearts at a rapid pace. We're transmuting, transforming our bodies, our physical body, massive detox, and transformation on all levels. So be careful, take care of yourself through this time. So Mars, Jupiter on the 14th, 15th come together. Then Mars squares up with Saturn on the 16th. And the exact Jupiter square Saturn epic generational astrology is from the 17th to the 23rd of August. And then we'll meet. Now that's when, so now Venus comes in. Then Venus comes into the squares. So Venus will square Jupiter on the 19th and Saturn. So they'll be opposite Saturn, making that T-square. So square Jupiter opposite Saturn on the 19th, and that's 17 degrees. And then Venus, the very last transit, although we'll still be feeling Jupiter square Saturn and all of this, but the very last exact square is Venus and Mars. So Venus and Virgo square Mars in Gemini, and they're actually they come into exact, but they stay really close within 1 degree for the 21st to the 25th of August. And so Venus square Mars, and it's interesting, Mercury went back to get Venus, and now Venus is coming into a square with Mars and Jupiter, opposition with Saturn. She is facing down, and she's saying, it's like she's been begging for crumbs, selling herself, just to survive. And now there's a massive turnaround, and the turnaround and the flipping of the tables and the turning of the tides, it says, if you want what she's got and what we're cultivating, you got to show up in reverence. That's what she says. Yeah, show up in reverence. Show up with gifts. Show up with treats. Show up with love. Show up with cultivation, mutual reciprocity, and that's how we get back to her, and that's how we fall back in love. So there is a deep and profound, the energy of healing, the shame of turning away, and then the profound, intimate, exciting, but the butterflies, the kind of makes you feel this love of the mother coming back to it. It's kind of like it's delicate and intimate and exciting, but also just we're a little bit scared of it. We have to kind of coax our way back in to this energy. And that's what's going on. But the Venus square is saying, yeah, okay, now it lands home in your heart, the love of the goddess. And we move forward from that place. It's the only way. And so really, really powerful times. And check out that activation, get that clearing and healing activation of the pineal gland. Wow, we're turning on our light. We're coming online, supernovas, just in time for a supernova experience in the cosmos, with potential supernova explosions this summer. It's our time. We're landing home as who we really are. And I feel that most supernova souls are standing at that precipice a little bit scared because you didn't realize how big it is and how big you are. You know, everybody around you has been denying and invalidating you. And now you have to rapidly get prepared for the truth of the power of who you are and what you're here to do. If we move forward from this place, if we don't blip out, it just feels like I want to bring this forward because I know a lot of people are struggling right now. And the feeling is like, what's the point? I don't know what, I can't even see beyond tomorrow. You know, I can't plan. I don't want to work. I don't want to do my laundry. What is the point? You know, and just know that that is the point. The point is that we're getting to the point. We're getting to still point. You know, we talked about that last week, this feeling of like that ceremonial space coming in, and you gradually are preparing to that ceremonial space, and eventually you come into the silence together. And this is where we are. This Mercury retrograde is like the still point, holding the vibrational field for this massive wrenching in the works, mutable T-square, Venus square Mars, Mars, Jupiter square Saturn. We're not doing it that way anymore. So don't believe it. Don't believe the stories and the wars and the financial crashes. Don't believe it. It's her way or the highway, and she is abundant. And the whole picture from the beginning was taking her abundance and eating it out of her, abusing the feminine to create scarcity, stealing it, so that then the feminine was constantly trying to manipulate to get their own power back because there's not enough, you know. And then the toxic feminine that had to fight, you know, and be in competition in order to get back what's even hers, you know, not even realizing it was hers in the first place. And it's like, no, 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 no. The geyser has been blocked too long. Mama is coming back online just like at the same timing we are, because it's her ascension. And that's why we're here with her. Don't you think we should probably talk to her? We should probably be in communication. We should probably hold her hand. Like, Mom, what's next? Get your weather report there. And love her and say, Mom's got me. Mom's got us. I'm breathing. I'm loving. I'm feeling her. You know, and it's all about coming back home. And we come back home by coming back together. And so go just surrender into the free fall, into the massive adjustments, into the immediate, urgent initiation that last week you didn't know whether you should even bother being here on Earth. Like, what is the point feeling? This week, whoa, the tide is turning. Next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the rest of this year. Actually, this whole year, all the way to spring, is going to be an initiation, preparing you for that next chapter. But you're going to feel it moving. You're going to start to see what it might look like. And it's not the gloom and doom they told us. Just don't even buy into it. It's all a movie. You're watching a movie. Just do not buy into the news, no matter how bad it is. Come home to the weather report from the mother and feel that stability growing within you as you incarnate and come home as who you really are. There's no other choice for us. The only way out of this is in, by coming in. Our ascension is incarnating our light, just like she is. She's putting on her dress for cosmic Christ consciousness. Her uh, her date, her love, her Christ consciousness is coming home. It's a grand celebration and divine marriage and union. And that's kind of the energy, the break of the timeline of the lies, the delusions of the Piscean age. And the adjustment there has to do with Venus square Mars, right? That the masculine and the feminine are at odds in competition with each other. And no, that's not how it is in her world. In her world, it's a perfect balance. Because the perfect balance of masculine and feminine in society, in life, allows for the blooming of her garden and her waters and the fountain, a never ending abundance, calling us back home. We've been told lies long enough. She's been buried, hidden with the scrolls. And she's like, aha, I'm back. And we must reconcile. What a beautiful time for supernova souls. That finally everything you've ever thought, stood for, dreamed, believed in, you find out it's true beyond what you can imagine. So true you can't even see what it looks like. Because that's what she says. It's not going to look like what you thought. You don't have a conceptual reality for this. Maybe this is this, Mercury retrograde, Leo, Virgo. But it's going to be more beautiful than you can imagine, she says. So maybe we should just be with her, not worry about it. So wonderful. It's so beautiful what she wants us to do. For so long, we've been getting these images and the activations and meditations guiding us to sacred locations on the earth. And really important for supernovas. What are we doing? We're called to go to these places, 2 or more, on these sacred vortexes, locations on the earth. And then it's like, but Mom, what are we doing? Mother, what are we doing here when we go? What's our job? And she says, dance and sing on me. Sing and dance on me and with me and celebrate. That's what you need to do. Activate, love, heal, mutual reciprocity in this chakra. Placing an energetic frequency in that vortex that says cleans up all of what's been done wrong there. So we have an opportunity and to come together in Montana. Supernova Camas Hot Springs, the Soak in the Waters, Hot Springs, Montana, September 20th through 23rd, 2024, for the Equinox, September Equinox. Coming together, celebrate, we'll do ceremony, we're going to do healing, we're going to do group intuitive sessions, figure out who in the heck we are and why have we been brought together at this time. Really move into this in-person work, singing, celebrating, sharing our gifts and offerings, learning about primary water with Russell Anderson, talking to the waters, soaking in the waters. These waters have some of the highest mineral content and profound healing, just what supernovas need for their rapid initiation into this future. If we're the ones that's leading humanity through this time, we better get our act together and heal, detox. And that's the energy of this event, to come together, to be together, talk, connect. So I can't wait to see you there. Will be live stream portions and also wonderful live painting workshop and intuitive visualization and painting workshop with Lauren Mancaton in Santa Fe, October 26th, 27th. Incredible opportunity to work with Lauren and I in a sacred space to open up to your own creative fire within through the medium of chakra work, intuitive visualization, and painting. So more information about those workshops below. It's happening. Supernova souls are coming together. We're doing it. And what's that mean for you? She says, don't think about it anymore. Don't try to figure it out. Don't make any plans, but just go ahead and dream. Go ahead and feel into it. Go ahead and let yourself entertain a completely new reality and step into the dream, she says. That's how we do it. Somebody told us we needed money. Somebody told us we needed support. Somebody told us we needed the structure of the society. We don't need it. We only need her. And we got her. and she's got us. And now we move and grow and create right out of thin air, whatever we need, because that's the power, she says, that we have. So, what a beautiful demonstration of our higher technology and abundance. And that confirms Mercury back in Leo, square Uranus and Taurus, permission for that spiritual intuitive abundance. Yep, we're taking it back. So, that third and final Mercury square Uranus will be September 7th. And Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow on the 12th. So, that is a very powerful resolution energy where I think we'll be seeing things in a whole new way. And I know it's a little frightening. Just keep breathing and keep loving. She's got us. You're handled. You know exactly what to do. You've done this before. They've just programmed us with fear around it. But it's not true. Higher frequencies are stabilizing. And so we're becoming stabilized as who we are. And it's so beautiful. And we're coming to a much better place that we can meet each other and have a productive, cooperative collaboration. So I can't wait to see what happens. Thank you so much, SuperNova Souls. Go back and get that Leo New Moon activation. It's really powerful. I'm so honored to have you with me for this work, the activations in the membership group. What we're doing here is invisible and energetic, and yet I'm sure you're feeling the incredible power of it and the incredible wealth of it, validating. That's my hope and dream. The SuperNova brand and energy and information can validate who you are. You've been invalidated every turn. And it's like, now it's time for us to stand up and say, no, the dream is real and I'm stepping into it. Mom's got me. And together, like children, we re-enter our garden. So wonderful to be here with you, and I look forward to seeing you soon, checking out that membership group. More information below to get weekly updates, live chats, and access to the new and full moon activations. Thank you so much for being here, SuperNova Souls. It means so much to me being here, being present with these ideas, these concepts. We're coming together in our consciousness. We've been doing it, and the work we've been doing is so huge if you could see it from the other side. So thank you for being here and making it through all you've made it through. And I look forward to this beautiful next chapter ahead for the SuperNova vision. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.